Oh, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps good morning for some of you that are dialing in from the West Coast. My name is Ray Saberwal. I'm with RICS. We're going to give a minute or so for everyone else to join in, and we'll get started. And in the meantime, just for those who you have never heard my voice before, I'm based out of Toronto, Canada, and it is a rainy day here, although the city and the country seems to be fairly excited about our basketball finals. And we're looking forward to a nice, good evening to play our finals with the Golden State Warriors. And we'll see what happens. It's game number 6, folks, who are following in Miami. Well, I think we should start now. Once again, good afternoon and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I really want to thank you for registering and attending our social media training basic webinar, which is almost a level 1, we would say. So welcome you all to this live session today. Now, this is the first of the planned 6 sessions on our social media training. And as we communicated through our emails, there will be 2 sessions on basic level. This is session number 2. The one earlier session we had was on June the 11th, 2 days ago, at about 9 in the morning Eastern Time. We're going to have two sessions on intermediate and 2 on advanced skills. Both the sessions for each level are same, with similar agenda and the format, except the timing for each session will be different. So one of the sessions will be in the morning, and the other one will be in the afternoon, just like we're doing now. You know, they say winners don't do different things; they just do things differently, and that is what we will be doing in our 6th session. Other than having a monologue and a Q&A at the end of the session, we will have a conversation this time between myself, Ray Saberwal, Head of Marketing and Communications at RICS in the Americas, and Gary Chauhan, the Digital Marketing Manager for the Americas at RICS. Gary also sits with me in the same office in Toronto, Canada. So we will also have a few poll questions throughout the presentation to keep you all folks engaged. And at any time during the presentation, any one of you can submit a question through the chat window of your webinar console, which should be on your right-hand side. Out of respect for the attendees and also to ensure that we cover the entire agenda items, we will try to address as many questions as we can during the call. But if there are any unaddressed queries, we will ascertain that we address them through a follow-up communication through an email. So please make sure that you put your questions in there, and we'll make every effort to address them throughout the call, at the bottom of the call. So all attendees will be muted for the duration of the presentation, but you are all good to send in your questions through the console. So for the next 20 to 30 minutes, we will walk you through an introduction of the social media universe and some of the key platforms. We will also do a quick walkthrough on how to set up accounts or profiles on some of these platforms, and also showcase you or discuss with you how to use them. Now, this will also include some definitions of the key terms associated with these platforms. What are the best practices for engagement on these platforms will be the next. And finally, we will discuss how we use social media at RICS as part of our marketing and communications strategy, how you can get involved with us through social media, and how you can help elevate RICS through social media. So very interactive and a nicely weaved in session for today. Now, if you look at the social world, the digital transformation is being considered as the 4th industrial revolution. The majority of the communications are getting digital. with time poverty and the need for instant gratification, it is leading to development of multitude of applications or apps as we call them. Now, whether it is document sharing, voice or video, content, including images, or even talking about the live events or anything else, everything has either an online app or can be shared online. Every space that we just talked about is saturated with multiple apps that cater to all segments of audience. And for the sake of our discussions, we will limit ourselves to live stream applications such as Facebook, social networks such as Twitter, and some niche networks such as LinkedIn, right? So out of all that very complex and very crowded, saturated social world, we're going to limit ourselves to a few for the sake of this discussion today. So Gary, any comments so far?
Hi, Ray, and thank you. And hello to all the attendees that are joining us today as well. Ray, you are absolutely right in limiting our conversation today to a few targeted networks because the digital world is so huge and full of multitude of apps and channels. If we start touching on even a few of these, we can spend the entire day.
Yeah, so thank you, Gary, for the endorsement. No, but folks, that accentuates the value of 1 minute in the digital space. So if you consider a minute of what happens in an internet, the online social space oscillates at such an astronomical speed that with a blink of an eye, so much information is exchanged that if you blink longer, you just might miss an opportunity. Isn't it, Gary?
Yeah, Ray. Just imagine that within a minute, about 500,000 tweets are sent through Twitter. Within a minute, that's 500,000 tweets. And almost 1 million people log into Facebook every minute. But not only that, 120 business professionals join LinkedIn every minute. The communication potential is huge, yet so is the noise. So with all this clutter, what is the best way to determine what channels to use?
Well, Gary, that is a very important question. There are three key things you should keep in mind when choosing the platforms that you want to use for communicating. The first one, what is the purpose of your communication? Are you trying to use these platforms for sharing updates? Are you using that for e-commerce, or do you plan to use them for branding purposes only? The second one is, what is your target audience? Do you know who you're trying to reach? Do you know their demographics? Do you know their geography? Do you know their sociographic details, or even the psychographic analysis of that audience that you're trying to communicate with? And finally, the third is, how can you reach them? For example, what I mean by that is, does your audience prefer videos, or do they prefer pictures? Or do they just prefer something professionally written through professional references, or it might be just short updates? So based on these three items, you can decide what channels would be best suited for your personal or as well as for your business needs. So, Gary, do you think this would apply to personal communications too?
Absolutely, Ray. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Let me give you an example. The millennials, let's say, they prefer tools such as Snapchat and Instagram and even Facebook. Their goals is to let their social circle know what they're doing at any given point in time. So, Ray, let me ask you, are you suggesting that RICS does a similar exercise to choose who their communication channels are?
Well, Gary, the short answer is yes. We did that exercise of choosing and deciding who our audience is, and we are constantly reviewing those parameters that I just earlier talked about, those three key parameters, just to ensure that we are connecting and engaging with our professionals, as well as the large built environment community in every possible way with which we can talk to them. So for us at RICS, and specifically in the Americas, our goal is twofold. One, to engage and communicate with our qualified professionals as well as with the built environment at large. And two, expand our reach of voice to enable larger set of audience within the profession benefit from our thought leadership. Now, if you look, the data reveals that using these channels, the social channels, it does amplify the brand as well as the engagement. For example, social media provides about 85 to 90% increased exposure of your communications, and it's almost 80% increased traffic. 78% to be precise, but it does lead to increased exposure as well as increased traffic. So this is an indicator of how the use of social media channels have become such a market imperative these days. Now, based on our analysis, we focus on three primary channels: LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. We do have presence on YouTube as well as Instagram, as you said, as you refer to while talking about millennials. But our exposure to YouTube and Instagram is very limited. So we focus primarily on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Okay.
Ray, can you share more on why we maybe use these three specific channels?
Oh, yes, certainly, Gary, certainly. Although I'm not able to take a deep dive, but to reinforce that, let me share some insights on these three specific channels. Now, if you look, this is a snapshot of the key reasons why we use each channel. In addition to a whole bunch of factors, there is one most critical reason why we use each channel. And this chart captures the strength of each channel, which ties back to our goals. What I mean by that is, for example, through LinkedIn, you can create a community of experts using the groups. So at RICS, that is important because we can develop a group for discussions around our standards that our team develops in collaboration with the industry leaders. Similarly, with Twitter, you can analyze what is trending in online discussions. And we use that intelligence to be either part of those discussions, choose influences from those discussions, or we kickstart our own discussions on similar topics or relevant topics as are trending online. And similarly, for Facebook, it is that brand reinforcement through sharing the pictures of our events or even live streaming some of our events, etc. That is important to our target audience, and the reason we embrace that platform. Now, Gary, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Ray. It does. But in the slide prior, you had mentioned something about the target audience and more specifically the demographics. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Certainly, Gary. It seems like you don't miss much, but sure. Let me touch on that as well, because that is a very good point you caught on. So a very significant determinant of choosing these platforms for us was the demographics and the target audience. So we wanted to ensure that we are not only communicating with our existing RICS professionals, but the built environment profession at large, including the next generation, or the millennials, as we call them. And this, if you look at on the slide, the size of monthly visitors followed by the demographic split of each platform ensures diversity as well as segmentation for us. Now this provides, if you look at the slide, this provides a very clear picture of what platform to use for what or which type of for messages. Now if you review the data again, you can visualize the different demographics on each channel. For example, LinkedIn has a larger male audience, whereas Facebook has more female users. Similarly, you will see more college grads on LinkedIn and Facebook than Twitter. So we did look at the demographics and the split of the segmentation before making our choices.
I agree. That is very important to cover all your subsets of your target audience and your segments.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And Gary, with this background, I think we should be able to walk the audience through what are the basics and how to set up the accounts or their profiles on their respective three platforms or And with that, I think, Gary, why don't you start with LinkedIn?
Sure, Ray. Sounds good. So, LinkedIn is the largest professional online network in the world. So setting your personal profile is actually pretty easy. All you have to do is go to the internet browser and type in www.linkedin.com. You will get the registration page, which will look like the screenshot on the presentation to your right. Provide the information requested, and you're set to go pretty much. If you get an error message saying your email address is already registered, it means that the email address that you've entered is already assigned to an existing account. In this case, sign in to proceed or forgot password to retrieve your password and then sign in. Now, let me talk about some basics about LinkedIn. For example, the account, let's say we just created, is also called your profile page. A sample screenshot is on the bottom left of the screen. This is different from a company page, which is a corporate entity and has an admin, rights, and various other platforms for you to use. A sample of an RICS page is on the top right of your screen. As Ray mentioned earlier, the LinkedIn provides you the ability to be a part of or be able to develop a community. So if you were to click on the work icon on the top right of your LinkedIn profile, you'll get a drop-down menu with a few options. And there you'll see the groups icon. This feature allows you to either join a group of professionals of your choice, or you can create your own group and invite professionals. You can take part in sharing discussions and industry information or thought leadership in these groups. RICS in the Americas also has a group on LinkedIn which you can be a part of and share relevant information. If you are unsure who to invite to your group or who to follow, LinkedIn provides you recommendations of influencers. Now, these are individuals who have significant followers and are respected within their sphere of influence and share thought leadership. Follow your clients and companies with which you do business, relevant professional organizations, your alumni association, and even competitors. Similarly, for Twitter, all you have to do to set up your account is go to your internet browser and type twitter.com. A sign-up or a login screen appears like the sample shown on your presentation. Complete the requested information in the fields. Also, during the sign-up process, you will be told to create a bio of yourself, and you'll be only given 160 characters to craft that bio. Once your profile is created, start following people within your interest categories.
So, Gary, how do I find somebody or someone that I'm looking for on Twitter?
Good question, Ray. So to find specific people, you use the search option at the top right corner, as you can see. You can use hashtags to capture a discussion on any topics. For example, hashtag RICS Soda will provide you all the posts on our America Summits that occurred and the events that took place in the different panel sessions and seminars and speakers. A hashtag is a quick way to quickly inform others what your post is about. Tweets with a hashtag receive a higher engagement rate of about 21% more than tweets without a hashtag. Now, a tweet. What is a tweet? A tweet is any message that you'll post or any user posts on Twitter. To write a tweet, go to the What's Happening field at the top and compose your tweet. You will be given 280 characters to compose that tweet. Push the tweet button and voila, you posted your tweet. Now, once you find someone, you can either follow them to make sure you read and see everything they post, or you can retweet their messages, which is simply reposting their messages, or you can quote a tweet where you can add your personal comments before retweeting to give context as into why you are retweeting this person with your own thoughts attached. Adding your commentary informs your followers as into why you thought this tweet was meaningful important, or educational. Now, a retweet pretty much means I agree with what this person is saying, and I believe you should also be aware of this. Other times, a retweet is an effort to disseminate what one considers to be important information.
So, Gary, what is handle in Twitter terminology?
Good question, Ray. So a handle pretty much is same as your Twitter username. It is just a given another name as a Twitter handle. This username can be searched and tagged through people's handles. We will discuss this in more detail in our next session. The circled items on the screenshot showcase how you can find friends or influencers. If you were to look at the bottom right of the screenshot, there is who to follow within your interest categories. Now, let me switch to Facebook. So, Facebook, probably the most popular social networking platform where users can post comments, share pics, and post links to news or other interesting content on the web. They can even chat live or watch short videos and keep in touch with people all over the world, whether it's old friends, current acquaintances, or those looking to meet new people. Facebook wants to bring people together through its website. Now, like the other two platforms, to register for Facebook, all you have to do is go to facebook.com, enter your details, create an account. Once you have created your account, start inviting your friends to create your network. Like Twitter or LinkedIn, you can search for your friends using their names and by adding them.
So, Gary, whatever you just talked about, is this for a personal account or this is also for a corporate account?
Great. Yeah. So just to clarify, actually, the process we just discussed is for a personal or individual account. But anyone can set up a corporate or personal celebrity page or personal influencer page for themselves, where they can set up events, show videos, and see how many visitors and followers are engaging with them. Also, there are multiple apps available through Facebook, which a user can implement a wide variety of solutions, including e-commerce and instant messaging. So, let me talk about some of the Facebook basics. When you post something on Facebook, it becomes your status, and your post is the comment. When you mention someone in your comment, you're essentially tagging them. You can do this by using the @ symbol and typing their name. A very good practice of being active on social media is to like someone else's posts, tagging your friends, or commenting on others' posts. You can like a post simply by using the thumbs up icon on every post.
All right. Thank you, Gary. This is wonderful. Let us share some best practices for these three platforms because I think now everyone has understood how to create their accounts, what are the basics. Let's go to some of the best practices, or as we call them, do's and don'ts. Now, since these platforms have segmented target audience, there are a few nuances that we all should adhere to. For example, LinkedIn is a professional network, so keep your profile pictures professional, preferably in a business attire. And since Twitter is a platform for sharing what am I doing now kind of updates, keep your posts short and concise. Similarly, Facebook being a personal social network of friends and families, try to add a picture or a video when you comment so that your friends and family and your network can relate and they share their feedback to you. So it's, keep those things in mind. Similarly, on the other hand, do not engage in an argument or tweet something that you will regret later. Do not post personal updates on your professional network like LinkedIn, and avoid religion or politics on almost every platform. Now, having said that, Gary, is there anything you would like to add?
My only recommendation, Ray, is if you are on social media platform, if there's just one or Twitter or all three of them, please be active. There is nothing worse than being on a channel and not being active. Do your best to share or just retweet or even like or comment, because even one like or comment can really go a long way and can be exposed to new users and a new audience on their news feeds or timelines.
Yeah, Gary, that is so relevant. So, folks, if you're not active, you not only lose friends, but on professional platforms, you might lose the followers. And if your goal was to be an influencer or a subject matter expert, then things might become challenging for you if you're not active on the social platforms as Gary recommended.
So, Ray, quick question actually. How can our audience engage us at RICS through social channels?
All right, great. Gary, we are almost in the home stretch now. So let's talk about this important question. Associating with RICS socially is extremely simple, okay? There are two ways folks can do that. One, everyone should follow or become our friend on all of the three platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Once you've done that, recommend your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues, as well as your network to follow us, join us, and ultimately engage with us online through sharing our information or liking or retweeting some of the comments on the social feed. The second scenario, which is I would say the best case scenario, is become an RICS brand ambassador. What will happen is we will provide you with daily social posts, and all you have to do is just copy and paste them. That will enable you to get comfortable, one, with using social media, and two, it will also help you raise your profile, because now by default you're becoming socially active by at least sharing or communicating at least once on each of the social channel. And trust me, some of you are already brand ambassadors. You might be getting all those daily tips. This process is very easy and very simple. So I highly recommend and encourage you to join the program. There's a link at the bottom of the page that takes you to an online form. You will take less than 30 seconds to fill that form to become a brand ambassador. And once you sign up, you will start getting emails. Again, it's a voluntary program. You can always withdraw it from any given point in time. There are no costs and no obligations within this program.
Great, that's very great news. It's very great news, and I'd recommend everybody to become an RICS brand ambassador as well. Through this journey. But my question for you is, where can our attendees or people find us?
Gary, that's actually the most important question for today. Is the whole purpose of or one of the agendas or one of the main purposes of this session was that people can actually engage with us. Our audience can communicate with us through social media, and if they don't know where to find us, the problem just amplifies as to how we communicate with them. So. Here's a list of our social media coordinates for all our platforms. Among these, you will notice, if you look at the bullet number 2 under LinkedIn, we also have a LinkedIn group for Americas, wherein our influencers, key decision makers, and the industry experts, they all are in that group, and they all post some very interesting and decent conversations that are really entertaining. So I encourage you to join that group as well. And along with these, there are the 4 key hashtags that we use for when we on our Twitter account. These are highlighted in red at the bottom of the page. So if anyone in the audience is posting or putting up a comment or on Twitter, I highly request you that you should include one of these hashtags if it is relevant to construction, real estate, et cetera, within the built environment. So please do that.
Yep. Ray, I'd like just to add, we definitely have more hashtags, like a hashtag RCS training and such, but these are definitely the most frequently used, and we'll cover more details on hashtags and which are the correct ones to use and how to form them in our next session. For now, yes, I'd say let's focus on these 4 hashtags: RCS, love surveying, hashtag RCS Soda, hashtag WBF. Also, as an FYI, the size of our audience on our platforms is also increasing every day. We would like to add many more to each of our platforms, so I'll request our attendees on this call to either join, follow, or connect with us on every channel if you have not done so.
All right, perfect. So Gary, what else should the audience expect in the next session? We are almost done with this session today. What can the audience expect in the intermediate session?
Great. So for the intermediate level sessions, I think we have lined up how to shorten links before posting on social media, so they don't take up too many characters and your posts look nice, simple, and clean. How to tag individuals on various platforms. We will also discuss how to add and share videos or pictures with your post. So that way, sometimes when you're given a post, and if there's no preview image, it'll make the post just look like gray and dull, not sexy. So also we will talk about, like I mentioned earlier, how to create or find the hashtags that you're looking for. And again, we will provide some tips and tricks to make your life easier while you're using social channels.
Well, Gary, that really sounds very interesting. So folks, with that, we come to the end of today's presentation, and we will now take on the questions from the audience. So if you have any questions, please, we encourage you to put it on through the chat. Gary, do you see any question coming in?
Yeah, actually, Ray, I do have a question here. I'll hand this off to you, but the question is, do you prefer one channel over the other?
Gary, that's a good question. The answer is yes and no. Our preference is predicated on the campaigns we launch. The target audience dictates if we will use Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook, or a combination of any of these channels. But overall, since we are a professional body, LinkedIn is our platform of choice. But if you go back to one of our slides where we talked about do we do any due diligence as to why we chose 3 channels and why we choose one over the other, there are a whole bunch of factors, including what is the demographics, what is the message, who do we want to reach, what set of audience, is there a certain geography we want to reach, is there a certain subset of audience we really want to talk about. For example, if we want to reach out to millennials, should we use one channel over the other? Should we prefer one over the other? If we want to reach out to individuals making $75,000 a year, what is the best channel for us for that? So we use a whole bunch of that analysis to reach out to our audience. Again, it is predicated by the campaign and the message we want to deliver. So I hope that answers the question, but that was really a good one. Now, I think, Gary, let me ask you a good question, another question, which was, do you have any recommendations to grow our follower base or my follower base?
Yeah, that's it's a really good question, because that's the real goal, right? That's the motive, growing our follower base, and so we can share that information that we have and be a thought leader in the industry. Honestly, I'd say, Ray, it comes down to 2 things, and that's being active and being engaged. So when I'm saying being active and being engaged is, for example, following people or professionals, especially influencers, on a daily basis on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, and staying up to par with their conversations, what they're speaking about, and adapting that thought knowledge and sharing it between your networks. I'll say also by commenting regularly. So commenting regularly on posts that you have some opinion about, or even expert opinion about as well, can really go a long way, where others will take notice and want to be part of your network. Next, thirdly, I'd like to say, I mentioned this earlier, but sharing, liking, and retweeting, if you don't have time to comment regularly, by sharing or liking and retweeting posts, it has just as much effect, because you will be known as a source of news information for others that are within your follower base. And lastly, provide relevant information, right? So we want to be providing real life information that's happening, and attaching examples to real life work examples to what's happening in the industry. So by doing those 4 points, by following people, professional, commenting regularly, sharing, liking, retweeting posts, and providing relevant information, I think the following base can be increased on a daily basis.
That's wonderful. I have a few other questions. I think I'll take them. One of the questions was if somebody has registered for the basic session or sessions, do they need to register for the other 2 sessions? So, folks, we have, as I mentioned earlier at the start of the webinar, we have planned 6 sessions, 2 in each level. There are 2 for basic level, 2 for intermediate level, and 2 for advanced level. The idea of splitting the training into 3 different segments was to cater to every set of audience by virtue of their skills. So if you feel comfortable with the basic skills, you can just take intermediate. Or if you think that you want to use social media as much, you don't want to know advanced skills, you don't have to sign up for advanced. You can just be fine with intermediate. But let me tell you, I highly recommend that you attend at least 1 in each category. What I mean is 1 basic, 1 intermediate, and 1 advanced session, because it will give you some very good insight into becoming proficient within the social media platforms. For example, in the next session, we're going to talk about how do you shorten your links. If you have a very large link that you want to promote, there is a way that you can fit it into the word limit that Twitter imposes or other platforms impose. Similarly, if you want to look at analytics, I would say wait for session number 3 to see how can you analyze your performance over any given social network. So depending on what your requirements are, I would encourage you to make that call. But as I said, try to at least sit on each of these sessions. It will really enhance and enable you in your day-to-day life with social media, professional life through social media promotions. One of the other questions we had is, do we need to provide a RICS-related hashtag in our daily posts on LinkedIn or Twitter? The answer is no, although I would love that every one of you does include a RICS hashtag. If the way to use a hashtag is the relevancy of the post or the comment that you're putting on social platforms. If your message preempts or requires a hashtag, then I would highly recommend you use it. But let's not use a hashtag. You should never consider using hashtags that are not relevant to the conversation. The whole purpose of a hashtag is an application, a third-party application used for Twitter. What it allows you to do is, for any given hashtag, you can see all the conversations related to that topic once you click or find that hashtag. What I mean by that is, if you are on Twitter and you search hashtag Toronto or hashtag NBA, you will see all the discussions on NBA. Similarly, if you use hashtag Toronto Police on Twitter, you will see all the updates from Toronto Police on Twitter, which is a quicker view of looking and searching for information on any given topic or person or place or anything in between. So to use RICS hashtag daily, absolutely yes, as long as it is relevant to the comment or the post or the information you are sharing. And again, one of the easiest way to do that is go to follow us on all the three platforms and just comment, like, or share what we post. You will get into the habit of in doing this, and you will also learn how to use some of those hashtags in a more appropriate fashion. But that was a very good question, by the way. There are two more questions. I'll quickly take them because we are almost at the top of the hour for this call. One was, will you be sharing this presentation? Absolutely, yes. We will be sharing this presentation. This is an audio recording. We will be posting on our brand ambassador web page. You will get the link of this one, if not tomorrow, then after the end of all the webinars in about 2 weeks' time. But again, once you get that, you can actually hear this session live again, along with the Q&A included in that. And one of the last question was, can I automate the postings? The quick answer is yes, and that is something that Gary is going to discuss in the third session. Is how do you automate? How do you schedule your posts? For example, if you're busy, you're occupied, or you're going to be traveling, how do you make sure that your social media platforms remain lit up while you're away or you're occupied? That's something that we will discuss, but the quick answer is absolutely yes, you can certainly automate your postings in all the platforms. And we will also discuss and share with you what are some of the tools you can use to automate your postings or schedule your posts. I hope you were able to find some relevant information that might help you in your professional life on a day-to-day basis. And I really hope to see you again in the next intermediate as well as the advanced sessions. And if you still have any question that you would love to be answered, or you have any thoughts that you would like to discuss around social media, Gary and I are available. You can always reach out to us, and we'll be happy to look into your questions and try to answer them. So with that, I want to thank you all for attending our live session on social media training webinar level 1 for basic. And again, thank you again, and wish you all the best and for the remainder of the day. Gary, over to you.
Thank you all for all the attendees attending, and we shall see you in the future sessions. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye for now.